Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Justina and here I like to make, create, and inspire fun art things with you through my DIYs. As you see by today's title or by clicking on today's video, I have another Christmas in July DIY video for you. These DIYs are really fun, affordable, and simple to do if you want to recreate them yourself. A lot of these items can be found at Dollar Tree or some local stores near you, so there is plenty to choose from. Now, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Now, with all that being said, let's just jump right into it and let's art today. For our first DIY, you're going to just need a couple of scraps of poster board that you can get at Dollar Tree. I just had a couple of scraps laying around and now I'm taking a pen and tracing out a triangle. Now I wanted this to be a really large triangle, especially with the cutout pieces that I had on hand, and so I'm just freehanding it, taking an X-Acto knife and cutting out my triangle. I am needing two of these triangles, so when I'm done cutting out the first one, I then take that triangle and trace out a second one. Now, if you do not want poster board, you can always use cardboard lying around your house to get the same effect. Now that I have both of my triangles cut out, they look like this. Now, for some reason, every time I cut Dollar Tree poster board, they always end up really clunky and uneven on the sides. So I'm just taking a pair of scissors and trimming off any excess that is not needed. Now that I have my two triangles, I need extra pieces for each side of my triangle, and I'm looking for the height. I figured out that 3.5 inches was a good height for what I am making, so I am just measuring out 3.5 inches, making a little dash, and then I will combine those dashes together with a line, and then I will also cut it out with my X-Acto knife. Now I needed 3 pieces, so I have 3 pieces for each side. Now you're probably wondering what I am making, and I want to make a Christmas cake slice. I had seen a bunch of these made with a whole bunch of different materials on Pinterest, so I wanted to give it a go. As you see here, I am going to attach everything using my hot glue gun. Now you can always use a more stronger adhesive, however I also tape up my edges later on, as you will see, but this does hold up nicely. I did add a little bead, then added my end piece, and then on the inside added another bead of hot glue on the edges just to have more structure. Now I'm going to add the other sides the exact same way, except for I didn't measure correctly, so I just had to trim off just a little bit of the excess and cut it down to size. Then I will hot glue that in place and then add another bead of hot glue on the inside once again to add more structure and make sure everything is nicely attached to one another. Now that I have all 4 of my sides glued on, it is now time to add the top piece of the triangle, and once again I'm using a big bead of hot glue right on top, lining it up, and then removing all the excess glue on the sides because I don't want that to be shown, and I'm just using another piece of poster board to scrape that off. Now that I have it all glued on, I do add extra glue where it's needed, and then I will take some painter's tape to tape up all of my edges. This will help your pie slice or cake slice have a nice smooth edge. Now I do suggest, if you do have masking tape or white duct tape, use that instead, unless you don't mind the blue We're going to cover it anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Now, next I have this glittery paper that is gorgeous, and I purchased this at Michael's a couple years ago, and I want to use the red glittery one. I just rip it out of the little booklet and place it to this side. This glittery paper is going to be the middle of my pie slice or cake slice. I don't know why I keep saying pie. It's a Christmas cake slice. And now to attach my paper to the middle of my cake slice, I am using hot glue. Now you can always use Mod Podge or school glue or even a stick glue. However, I really want this to have a nice secure hold, so I like to use my hot glue gun. I'm just placing it in the middle and pushing down so that it is a nice smooth finish. Now for the edges, it doesn't go all the way around, so I do end up cutting it because I am going to cover the edges of the back corners. As you see here, I'm just lining it up, made a little dash, and then cut it down to size. Once again, hot gluing it into place. Now, I need to admit that I kind of did things backwards. If I have a chance to do it all over again, which I might do for a different project, I should have did everything else first before adding the middle layer. Nonetheless, I really loved how it turned out. Now I'm just attaching the last piece on the back of my little cake slice, and once again pressing down firmly so everything is nice and smooth. Now for the top of my cake slice, I wanted it to have a different look, so I found this scrap piece of paper that came from a scrapbooking book that I had in my collection, and I traced out a triangle and cut on the inside of the lines that I made, just so that it fits nicely inside of my cake slice. Now that I have it all cut out, next I just align it in the center of my little cake slice. Once again, I'm using my hot glue to attach it down to the cake slice itself. I just add a little bead here, there, and then I take my little finger protector and push it down so there is no lumps or bumps underneath it. Now that everything is affixed down, it is now my favorite part, which is to decorate. I like to decorate my cakes using Fast and Final lightweight spackle. You can find this at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, and all different types of stores online as well. I really love this stuff because it really mimics the frosting or piping materials that you use on a cake. Now, Dollar Tree does sell lightweight spackling, but you only get a certain amount, which you will probably need more of, so you get more bang for your buck if you go to bigger stores. Now, I am first going in with a little bitty popsicle stick, and as you see here, I am spreading it all over the blue portion. That's why I didn't really mind seeing the blue layer underneath, because it showed me where exactly I needed to put the spackling. This is going to be the cake portion of our little cake, and I'm just pressing it down and then adding more on top and then smoothing it all out using that popsicle stick. I will continue doing this on the entire slice of cake except the bottom of my cake slice. This is how my cake slice looks after I have a nice layer of that spackling all over it. Now, in hindsight, I should have waited for it to dry completely because I kept sticking my fingers into it and then touching the paper. Nonetheless, I still loved how it turned out. Now, also, I should have took the time after it dried completely to maybe paint the sides of my cake a little bit of a yellow to have that little tint of a yellow cake. Nonetheless, I still loved how it turned out, so I don't really mind it, but I might make another one in the future. Now, I wanted my cake slice to have a really big dollop of whipped cream right on top, and to do so I am using this little pink pumpkin that I purchased at Target a couple years ago. It came in a package of 4 or 5 for about $3, and I just still had it on hand. This way, when I add my dollop of spackling right on top of it, I don't have to use so much of it, and it won't have the potential of caving in because it's going to hold on to that little pumpkin. So as you see here, I put a bunch of spackling into a piping bag with a piping tip, and now I'm just going in a circle all the way around that pumpkin until I reach the top of it, so it looks like a giant dollop of whipped cream right on top of our cake slice. As I am finishing up putting on my whipped cream, if you are new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I hope you do that today. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so that YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here and being patient with me. As a lot of you may know, I lost power last week due to a hurricane. Nonetheless, we are back on track and I'm super excited to pump out these videos for you. If you're enjoying today's content, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. It really does help out my channel. Now that I have my dollop of whipped cream on my cake slice, I am just going to finish up using the spackling that is in my piping bag all over my cake slice. As you see here, I'm just adding little dollops all over the top of my cake slice, and then for the rest of it, I do use it on the back of my cake slice as well, and then I move on to the next part of decorating. Now I have a bunch of leftover items from Dollar Tree that I've collected over the years. Now, if you cannot find the similar decorations that I am using for my cake slice, you can always go to thrift stores. Around this time, they have Halloween, they have Christmas already out for you that you can find to decorate with. Nonetheless, I'm pretty sure a lot of you still have a lot of these little knickknacks around that you can use for your cake slice. So I have this Santa ornament that I'm just cutting down to size, adding a big dollop of hot glue on the bottom of him and placing him inside of my whipped cream. The reason I add hot glue is because I want it to adhere down to the pumpkin that is underneath the whipped cream, and then to hide that hot glue, I do add more dollops to the front of it. Next, I'm just adding a little bit of greenery here and there with some of the old picks that I just had on hand. You can use any type of decorations you want to really spruce up your cake slice. After I have that laid down, I do have a couple of berries that I'm going to cut down and place on the back side as well. I do have glass fillers, as you see here, and I'm just placing them inside of the whipped cream. Once this is hardened, everything does hold up nicely. Nothing pops off unless you really have to push hard down to really make it break off, but nonetheless it holds up nicely. And once I was done with that, that completes our first DIY. I absolutely loved how this cake slice turned out. Like I mentioned before, I might have to make more in the future just to have all around my house. I love making giant fake sweets and little ones as well. But I would love to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below. Moving right into our second DIY, I have another wreath form that I purchased from Dollar Tree. It was in their plus section for $5, I believe around Easter time. So you may have one of these just lying around, or you can just find another one at Dollar Tree. They come in various colors. I like this green one because it is going to go great with my Grinch Christmas tree this year. I decorated it for last year and I am going to do it again for this year. I do have this non-shattering ornament set from the 99-cent store when they were going out of business, and I picked up a bunch of them and I'm just now using them for all of my crafts. Now, if you cannot find the same ornaments, don't worry. Dollar Tree will be coming out with them shortly. If not, you can always go to a thrift store. At least in my thrift store, they always have ornaments just lying around. I'm first going in with this dark green ornaments that I thought was perfect for the theme that I was going for, which is the Grinch. And I am hot gluing it all over my wreath form. Now, since this wreath form already had this green shaggy filler on it, I didn't have to wrap mine. I usually like to wrap my wreath forms just to give me something to hold my ornaments on, but since this already had it, I didn't need to do anything but start gluing all of my ornaments onto my wreath. Next, as you see here, I have these white glittery ones that remind me of glittery snowballs, and I'm adding them right next to the dark green ornaments. Then I just keep on adding more and more ornaments to my wreath form. As you see here, I'm going in next with the red ones. Now, since this is a Grinch theme wreath, I didn't have all of the ornaments that I really want on it, so I do end up making my own. All I have to do is grab some ornaments that I am not going to use, which are the silver ones, and I'm just removing the tops off of them. That's because when I start painting them using my paint, I am going to put them on a skewer to dry. Now I'm first going in with my Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in the color Irish Green, and I'm going to give it a couple of coats of that chalk paint just to make sure that everything is well incorporated and covered, and then I put them on the skewer to dry completely. Now for these, they are just going to be a solid green. I did grab a couple more and painted them with the same green but added red spots on them, as you will see later. I just didn't show it because it's the same concept. All I did was add red spots. Next, I'm just going to add the ones that I painted right onto my wreath form. I really like this look because it's different variations of green into the wreath. Give it a more higher end look and some more visual interest. After I was done gluing those on, I started to glue on more ornaments in the center of my wreath. Now, I didn't want to cover up all of the tinsel completely because it does add interest, but I did want it to look like it was really full of ornaments, so I'm just going to continue adding ornaments. As you see here, I added the green ones that I put spots on as well, and next is my second favorite part, which is filling up those awkward spaces with a bunch of different types of ribbon. I also have these fuzzy pipe cleaners that I purchased from the Dollar Tree that I am going to incorporate into my wreath as well. So what I like to do is cut down my ribbon to a certain size, which is usually about 5 to 6 inches. That way I don't have to use so much. Then I put a little bead of hot glue on the ends and pinch them together. That way it looks like a loop of ribbon that you place into a tree or into your wreath form, and you don't have to use so much. I add another bead of hot glue at the end of it, and then I push it down. Then I just fluff out my ribbon to make it look like it's looping through my wreath, and then I will continue the process with my other ribbons. I have a whole bunch of different variations of ribbons. I have some plain ones, as you see here. I have pattern ones, all incorporated together so it looks like a nice cohesive piece. I will continue that until I got all of the ribbon where I like it. Next, I'm taking my pipe cleaners, cutting it in half, and then wrapping it around my finger to make this little spring, and then I will add hot glue to the bottom of it and place it into my wreath form. I continue the same thing with the green one and continue until the whole wreath form is completely filled. Once that was done, that completes this DIY. I absolutely loved how this wreath turned out. It is going to be a perfect addition to my Grinch theme tree this year, and I'm super excited to decorate later on. Now, I would love to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below, and I would love to know what themes are you going with this year. For my next DIY, I have this little watering disc that I purchased from the 99-cent store while they were going out of business for 80% off, so I really got it for pennies. And if you cannot find this, you can always find it at Walmart, Home Depot, or Lowe's. This is usually the little plate that you put underneath your planters to collect the water. So I first go in with my Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in the color Imperial Red, and I paint the entirety of this little disc here, or this little tray. This is going to be a little trinket tray that I have lying around my house around Christmas time, and I make sure to give it about 2 coats of that paint, and then I let it dry completely. Now, normally what I like to do with my ceramics is seal it first and then paint on top, but since this tray was so small, all I I did was paint on top of it first. Now, just a reminder, anything that you paint on with ceramics, it does soak up the paint a lot, so you might have to use more than necessary. Nonetheless, it really didn't take much, and like I said, I did give it about 2 coats. Next, I'm going in with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Snow White, and I'm making these little curvature lines or triangles onto my plate because I am now going to be painting a little peppermint candy tray. Now with this one, for some reason it was picking up the red paint from underneath, so I did have to give it about 3 coats to make sure that the white was really opaque. But as you see here, I'm just making those little half lines and then filling it in with the white paint. Then after I was done, I did add another just singular line in between each one of those triangles just to add more interest. Lastly, to add one more bit of detail, I'm going in with my black Posca paint marker and I'm outlining all of those little curved triangles and lines. This is totally optional. You don't have to do this, but I just like doing it. It adds a pop of depth into some of my artwork, so that's why I am doing it. But once I was done with that, all I needed to do was clean up the edges and seal it, and that completes this DIY. This little trinket tray turned out really cute and is going to be perfect for the holiday season coming up pretty quickly. This was really easy to do, only took minutes to make, and all you really needed was the tray and some paint. But I would love to know what you think about this DIY down in the comment section below. Alright friends, that completes today's DIYs for you. I really had a blast making all of these, and it really does bring a smile to my face after a really long week last week of just no power and really hot weather. But anyways, I am so glad to be back. Thank you so much, all of you, for having such patience with me. I am ready to get back on track and make more DIYs for you over the summer. I'm super excited because I have a lot of ideas that I would love to share with you guys. Remember friends, if you are new here, I hope you stick around. All you have to do is click on that big red subscribe button down below. It is totally free, but don't forget to click on the bell notification so YouTube can always notify you every time I upload a new video. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being here and clicking on today's video and spending some time with me. I really do appreciate each and every one of you being here. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. It really does help out my channel. And if you know someone who would enjoy Christmas DIYs, please share it to at least one friend. That also helps out my channel as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy, and as always, I will see you in the next one.